Welcome back to the Living on Sports podcast. I'm Chester McGuire here with Michael Spencer. Now we're going to talk about some NCAA football. This past weekend we had Ohio State versus USC. USC brought freshman quarterback Matt Barkley into the horseshoe and won. What do you think about that?
You know, I didn't really learn much about either team here. I think most people expected USC to roll. I was impressed that Ohio State played them that well, but I wasn't really that impressed with Matt Barkley because, you know, coming in, yeah, I understand you're a freshman quarterback, but let's be honest, they don't win that game unless it's for Joe McKnight.
Oh, no, that's definitely true. I don't think Barkley was really the difference maker. I think he held his own well enough in a very hostile atmosphere. But like you said, I thought USC was just going to kill Ohio State. So I was impressed by Ohio State for that.
Yeah, and I think, but the knock's still on Terrell Pryor. You got to win a big game, and that's been, and that's the knock on Ohio State, it seems. They can't win a bowl game to save their life, and they can't win a big game. And USC came knocking, and they had their chance. They had their opportunity, and Ohio State's vaunted defense didn't hold up in the end.
You see Ohio State losing again this season, though?
Probably not, because the Big Ten isn't that good.
You don't think Penn State can knock them off at home this year?
I don't think Penn State will get them, and I don't really see Michigan, although Michigan had a good win over Notre Dame, the way they played, they're not going to be able to knock off Ohio State.
What about USC? They going to finish season undefeated?
No, they'll drop somewhere. They always do. And it's been a huge knock of USC. They always go into some Pac-10 opponent and drop, and especially with a freshman quarterback, they'll definitely drop on the road somewhere.
I think Cal stands a legitimate chance of winning the Pac-10 this year. They're looking strong.
I don't know that USC is going to lose the Pac-10, but I don't know that they won't go undefeated.
Oh, okay. All right, so like you said, Notre Dame versus Michigan this week. Lou Holtz's number 2 team in the nation went down. How do you feel about that one?
Lou Holtz, I mean, I don't want to talk anymore about Lou Holtz because I'm sick of talking about Lou Holtz. Notre Dame didn't deserve to win, and they didn't, and that suits me perfectly fine. Do
you think Michigan should be ranked, though, after that win?
That's up in the air. I think Notre Dame was a little overrated to start the season. And, after 2 weeks of real play, well, and you can't even call it real play for some teams, but after 2 weeks of play, it's still tough to get a top 25 in there. And, go ahead, put Michigan in the top 25. I mean, hell, if you're going to put Missouri in there after they beat Illinois, you might as well put Michigan in after they beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so week 1 we had Oklahoma go down. Week 2 we had Oklahoma State go down. Who was the next top 5 opponent to go down?
What is up with the Big 12? The Big 12 coming in soft against weaker opponents.
Is Texas going to drop to Texas Tech this week?
I don't really see that as a huge upset, though. Granted, Texas is number 2 in the country, but the way Texas played against Wyoming, they didn't deserve to roll over Wyoming the way they did, especially given the way Wyoming played them in the first half. But Texas Tech, at least that's an interconference rival. Oklahoma State losing to Houston.
That was just ridiculous.
And Oklahoma losing to BYU. Granted, BYU's a good team, but it's not like they're a major BCS powerhouse.
Oklahoma did lose Bradford in that game, but still, they should have had a strong enough supporting cast to win that game.
Come on now. And USC or Texas, even if they do lose to Texas Tech, I don't really look at that like, oh, wow, that's a terrible upset, because at least you're losing to somebody in your conference.
And then they're still wide open Big 12 right now.
It's a really, really wide open Big 12, and I think you look at the guys. Obviously, Colorado's out of it. Iowa State has no chance. Nebraska certainly has a good chance to win it.
Oh yeah.
I think it'll be Texas in the end, but Texas is going to be tested, and it may, they may have taken this Wyoming game as a chance to get tested, and maybe that's what they needed to set them straight.
All right, speaking of tests, Florida, Tennessee, what do you see happening there this week?
Florida's going to roll them. There's no way. I like Tennessee, but after they couldn't beat UCLA at home, there's no way Florida lets their guard down. And they've had that circled for a really, really long time. And Tennessee, I think they're a team or a program that's on the upswing. I think they're gonna get there with Lane Kiffin, but not in his first year. They won't beat Florida. No way.
I don't think so. Question is, when does Urban Meyer let up off the gas after all the offseason remarks that Lane Kiffin had about him?
Urban Meyer's not one for letting up off the gas. I don't know that he will. I don't know that he's gonna go up 50-0. I don't think it's gonna be a huge blowout either. I think Tennessee will will lose, and I think Florida's going to handle them, but it may only be by 21 or 28. I don't think it's going to be a 63-0 shellacking. I really don't. I think Tennessee has too much pride, and their players want that game too badly to let that happen. They just don't have the talent to do that.
Yeah, all they have right now is Eric Berry, and he can only do so much.
Yeah, there's no way.
All right, so what about the Colorado Buffaloes? You mentioned them a couple minutes ago. I mean, dropping to Colorado State University and then Toledo. Is Dan Hawkins going to be fired before the season's over or what?
How Dan Hawkins hasn't been fired already, I don't know. People were calling for the Michigan coach's head when they lost to Appalachian State. But how Dan Hawkins hasn't been fired, I don't know. I don't know what's going on over in Colorado. He must know something about somebody in the athletic department where if they let him go, he's going to squeal. But something's definitely going on. How he still has a job, I don't know. He hasn't done anything since he got there. No,
he's been an extreme disappointment coming from Boise. I was really sad about seeing that one. Well, not so sad, but I just liked him at Boise.
Well, and I think, I long for the days when college football was at its peak, when the good teams were good teams, when Tennessee was good, when Notre Dame was good, when Michigan was always good. I long for those days. It's nice to see the underdogs, but I really, really long for the days when Nebraska was pounding people and always had a shot to win the Big 12 North and always had a shot to play in the national championship game. I miss those days.
I think Bo Pelini is going to bring him back to that.
I think he will, too. I think Bo Pelini is a great coach, and it's only a matter of time until Nebraska is up at that level again.
Oh, yeah. So today reports came out that Bob Stoops was not going to tell anybody about Sam Bradford and how long he may be out. It's looking longer than was originally expected. What do you think there?
Well, this isn't really shocking. I mean, if I'm Bob Stoops, I don't want to come out and tell you when Sam Bradford's going to be ready or when he's not going to be ready. And, we've seen this go on. It's a mind game. That's all it really is. Bill Belichick's done it in New England for forever.
Oh, every week Tom Brady's on the injury report.
Yeah, and so why not? What's the advantage for Stoops to come out and say, yeah, Bradford's going to be ready in 3 weeks?
Oh, there's no advantage to him doing that, but I'm just curious to see maybe that Bradford might be out the whole season. That's something that could be happening here. At which point, what does that mean for Oklahoma?
Well, I think it means for Oklahoma, bye-bye BCS. You're going to lose to Texas. You may end up dropping another game along the way and, settle for a decent bowl. But they're not gonna do anything without Bradford. Especially not without Jermaine Grisham. They're not going to do anything without your starting quarterback and your starting tight end, both of whom could have gone to the NFL last year but came back. You're not going to do anything without those guys.
No, I agree. All right, coming up, we got Serena Williams' outburst, Roger Federer's loss.
All sorts of blow-ups in tennis.
And the baseball homestretch is coming up.
And let's touch on Michael Jordan's speech coming up, too.
All right.
Everybody's so bent out of shape about this. I don't really see the big deal. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. That's coming up next.